The bridge of the HSS Nightfall was quiet. Commander Jake Morrison sat in his chair, looking at reports about trade routes. His ship was far out in space, doing normal patrol work. Nothing interesting had happened in days. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez worked at her communications station. She was checking different radio frequencies when something caught her attention. Her hands moved fast across the controls. "Commander, I have something strange here," Emma said. "It's a distress signal. Not from any human ship." Jake sat up straight. Humans had only been in space for 15 years. Meeting aliens was still new and exciting. "Can you translate it?" Emma worked on the signal, using the translation computer that humans got when they joined the Galactic Council. Her face changed from curious to worried. "Sir, it's from a Valaxi transport ship. They say raiders are attacking them. They're asking for help from anyone who can hear them." The Valaxi were peaceful aliens. They ate plants and traded goods across space. They had been nice to humans when Earth first went to space. Jake had met some at meetings and liked them. "How far away are they?" Jake asked. 4 hours if we go at full speed," Emma said. "But sir, they also said they sent distress calls to 3 other patrol fleets from the Galactic Council. Nobody answered." Jake's jaw got tight. He had heard stories that many alien species thought it was too dangerous to fight raiders. They let their insurance companies pay for losses instead of risking their crews. It made sense in a practical way, but Jake hated it. "Lieutenant Ryan Cooper," Jake called to his weapons officer. "Are our weapons ready?" Ryan was a big man from Texas. He smiled. "Everything is good, sir. The Nightfall is ready to fight whenever you are." Jake stood up. He had made his choice. "Helm, set course for the Valaxi ship. Maximum speed. Sound battle stations." Alarms rang through the ship. The crew ran to their positions. Emma looked up from her console. "Sir, I should tell you something. The Valaxi said there are at least 4 raider ships. We only have 1 ship." "Then we need to make every shot count," Jake said. "Send a message back to the Valaxi. Tell them help is coming. Emma, also send our status to Fleet Command. Let them know we're going to fight." The Nightfall's engines roared to life. The ship jumped to high speed, racing toward the battle. Jake thought about what he knew of raiders. Most were criminals who attacked weak targets. They did not expect anyone to fight back hard. They had never fought humans before. 4 hours passed. The Nightfall came out of faster-than-light travel and found chaos. The Valaxi transport was a big, round ship made for carrying cargo, not fighting. It was damaged badly and leaking air into space. 4 raider ships circled it like sharks. Their weapons were cutting into the transport's shields. "Give me a report," Jake ordered. Ryan's fingers moved fast on his controls. 4 raider ships, Corvette class, Krenthian design, light armor, medium weapons. They're using plasma cutters to break through the hull. "Sir, the transport's shields are almost gone. I'm reading dead and injured on board." "How long until we can shoot?" 90 seconds. Jake's face was hard. "Charge all weapons. Target the closest raider. Emma, send a message on all frequencies. Tell them this is the Human Confederacy ship Nightfall. Order them to stop attacking and surrender." Emma sent the message. Nothing happened for a moment. Then 1 raider ship left the transport and turned toward them. A reply came through. The translator made the alien voice sound sharp and mean. "Humans, the Deathworlders send 1 small ship. You should go back to your violent planet before we destroy you." Jake smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Emma, send 1 more message. Tell them we gave them a chance." "Message sent, sir." "Ryan, fire!" The Nightfall's railguns fired with huge power. Humans had learned that while many aliens used energy weapons, solid metal moving at extreme speed worked better. The tungsten slugs crossed the distance in seconds and hit the raider ship hard. The raiders' shields were made to stop energy weapons. They did almost nothing against solid metal moving at a big part of light speed. The slugs went through the hull like it was paper. The raider ship exploded in a bright flash. On the bridge, Ryan shouted with joy. "One enemy destroyed!" The 3 other raiders immediately stopped attacking the transport. They were clearly confused. 1 shot, 1 kill. Space battles did not usually work that way in the galaxy. "They're calling us," Emma said. "Put them through." A different voice came through the speakers. This one sounded less confident. "Human ship, this was just business. We will leave now and let the Galaxy go. No need to fight more." Jake's eyes narrowed. "You fired on an unarmed ship. You ignored a distress call. You chose violence. Now face what happens next. All ships, get ready to fight. No survivors." The 3 raider ships scattered in different directions. Their crews had decided that living was more important than whatever money they could get from the Galaxy. On the Nightfall's bridge, Ryan tracked where they were going. "They're running, sir. Should we chase them?" Ryan asked. Jake looked at the tactical display. The raiders were fast. They were going in different directions. The Nightfall could not catch all 3, but what happened here today would send a message across this part of space. "Target the slowest one," Jake ordered. "Emma, get me connected to the Galaxy transport." While Ryan locked weapons on one running raider, Emma connected to the alien ship. The face on screen was not human. It had wide eyes, delicate features, and skin that shimmered with color. The Galaxy captain looked tired and scared. "Human ship, this is Captain Ven of the transport Gentle Tide. We cannot thank you enough for coming. No one else would help us." Jake felt angry at that, but kept his voice calm. "Captain Ven, what is your status? We have 17 dead, 32 injured. Our hull is broken in 3 places. Life support is failing." Ven's voice shook. "They were going to board us. They were going to take my crew as slaves." Jake's hands gripped his chair arms tight. Slavery was illegal under Galactic Council law, but the law was not enforced well. Many species just looked the other way. Humans did not look away. "Wait, Captain. We're going to deal with these raiders. Then we'll help you." Jake nodded to Ryan. "Fire." The Nightfall's railguns fired again. The running raider tried to dodge. Its pilot threw the ship into a twisting pattern. But Ryan had been tracking its movements and guessing where it would go. The tungsten slugs hit the raider in the middle. It exploded into pieces. The 2 other raiders were now going very fast, almost out of weapon range. Jake did quick math. They could maybe catch 1 more, but the 3rd would escape. "Emma, record a message. Send it on all raider frequencies in this area." Emma turned on the recording system. Jake stood up, looking at the camera. "This is Commander Jake Morrison of the Human Confederacy. Today, you attacked an unarmed ship that asked for help. You ignored their distress call. When we came to help, you chose to fight instead of surrender. 2 of your ships are now debris. We could have destroyed all 4, but I want survivors to tell others this message. Earth is a death world. Humans are apex predators. We evolved fighting every day just to survive, and we do not abandon those who call for help." He leaned closer to the camera. "If you prey on the weak in our patrol zones, if you ignore distress calls, if you deal in slavery or piracy, we will find you. We will hunt you, and we will show you exactly why our planet tried so hard to kill us and failed." Jake sat back down. "End recording. Send it everywhere. Ryan, let the last 2 run. We need to help the Galaxy." As Emma sent the message, the Nightfall moved next to the Gentle Tide. The damage looked worse up close. The transport was leaking air and its hull was burned and torn. One of the Galaxy officers came to Captain Ven quietly. They watched the humans work. "Captain, I have never seen any species act like this. They destroyed 2 raiders without hesitation. Then they immediately started helping us. How can they be so violent and so kind at the same time?" Ven shook his head slowly. "I have heard stories about humans. They come from what the Galaxy calls a Class 12 death world. Their planet has killed more humans than all the wars in galactic history. They evolved to be survivors." He watched as a human medic carefully helped a young Galaxy crew member. But they also evolved in family groups, protecting each other with fierce loyalty. They are loyal to those they consider friends. Are we their friends, Captain? After today, I believe we are. On the Nightfall's bridge, Emma looked up from her console with surprise. Commander, we're getting responses to your message. A lot of responses. From who? Other potential victims, mostly. Merchants, transport ships, even some mining operations. They're thanking us. But, sir, we're also getting threatening messages from raider groups. Jake smiled, but without humor. Let them threaten. Send our sensor logs and battle footage back to Fleet Command with a priority flag. Include a request for more patrol ships in this sector. Already done, sir. And, Commander, Fleet Command is responding. Admiral Lisa Hayes wants to talk to you directly. The Admiral's face appeared on screen. Her expression was hard to read. Admiral Hayes was a veteran of the Contact Wars, humanity's first military fight with hostile aliens. She had earned her position through skill and courage. Commander Morrison, I have reviewed your actions. You fought 4 hostile ships with 1 patrol ship. Yes, ma'am. The Galaxy needed help. Hayes looked at him for a moment. The Galactic Council is going to have opinions about this. You have made a strong statement. With respect, Admiral, the Council's rules let raiders operate freely. They have created a situation where criminals know their victims will not be defended. I agree completely, Hayes said, and Jake relaxed a bit. I am approving your request for more patrols. More than that, I am pulling the 5th Fleet from dock. We are going to make our presence known in this sector. If the Council will not protect innocent beings, humanity will. Thank you, Admiral. One more thing, Morrison. Your message is spreading across the galactic network. Within hours, every species will know what happened here. You have drawn a line. Someone had to, ma'am, Hayes nodded. Good luck, Commander. Hayes out. As the connection ended, Ryan turned from his station. Sir, the Galaxy transport is stable enough for slow travel. They are asking permission to travel with us for escort to the nearest station. Granted. Set course for Station Kepler. Go slow so they can keep up. As the 2 ships began their journey, Emma watched communication channels. She saw Jake's message spread across the galaxy. The reactions were mixed. Gratitude from peaceful species, anger from those who made profit from the current system, and cold calculation from raiders who were suddenly thinking about the risks of their job. On many worlds and stations, different beings watched the footage of the Nightfall's fight. They saw the brutal efficiency of human weapons. They heard the firm tone of Jake's warning, and they began to understand that the humans, these strange Deathworlders, were changing the rules. 3 days after the Nightfall's fight with the Raiders, Admiral Lisa Hayes stood in the command center of Earth's largest space station that built ships. Through the big windows, dozens of warships floated in the dark like sleeping predators. The 5th Fleet, humanity's rapid response force, was getting ready to deploy. Status report, Hayes ordered. Captain Ryan Fletcher, her chief of staff, brought up a holographic display. All 15 ships are at 95% combat ready. The HSS Thunderstrike, HSS Valiant, and HSS Relentless are ready to leave within the hour. The rest of the fleet will be ready within 12 hours. Hayes nodded, studying the fleet. 3 heavy cruisers, 6 destroyers, 4 frigates, and 2 support carriers. It was more firepower than humanity had ever sent for a peacekeeping mission. Any word from the Galactic Council? She asked. Ryan's expression turned sour. They have filed a formal protest. They claim Commander Morrison's actions were too much and broke protocols for engagement. What protocols? Hayes snapped. The ones that let raiders attack civilian ships freely? The ones that mean distress calls go unanswered? That is basically what I told their representative, ma'am, politely. Hayes allowed herself a thin smile. I am sure you were very diplomatic, Ryan. What about the other species? Are we getting any support? Quietly, yes. The Valaxi government has publicly thanked humanity. Several other peaceful species have expressed private support. The military powers on the Council are staying officially neutral, but some of their officers have sent unofficial messages of approval. And the raiders? Activity has dropped by 40% in sectors near human patrol routes. They are adapting to our presence. Hayes turned from the window. Then we need to expand that presence. The Fifth Fleet will set up patrol rotations across all major trade lanes in our assigned sectors. I want response times under 2 hours for any distress call. Admiral, that is an aggressive deployment. The Council will see it as militaristic. The Council can see it however they want, Hayes replied. Humanity did not come to space to watch innocent beings suffer while bureaucrats debate response times. We came to be part of a better civilization. If that civilization will not live up to its ideals, we will lead by example. Ryan brought up another display. We have also received over 200 applications from aliens who want to serve on human ships. Apparently, our response to the Valaxi situation has made quite an impression. Hayes thought about this. Screen them carefully, but do not reject them automatically. If they are willing to uphold our standards, they are welcome. Include that in your briefing to the fleet commanders. Across the solar system, the mobilization continued. On Mars, the construction yards made patrol ships faster. On Luna, training facilities began expanding to handle more recruitment. Humanity had been preparing for this moment since first contact, knowing their values would eventually clash with galactic reality. Meanwhile, on Station Kepler, Commander Jake Morrison watched the Valaxi transport Gentle Tide leave. Its repairs were complete. Captain Venn had insisted on thanking the Nightfall's crew personally before leaving. It had been an emotional ceremony that surprised Jake with its intensity. Humans have honor, Venn had said, gripping Jake's hand in the Valaxi way. Our people will remember this. You could have ignored our call like everyone else. Instead, you risked your lives for strangers. Now, standing in the station's observation lounge, Jake watched the fleet arriving. The big human warships came out of faster-than-light travel in precise formations. Their hulls were covered with weapons and armor. Quite a sight, is it not? A voice said beside him. Jake turned to find Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez holding 2 coffee containers. He took one gratefully. I did not expect this level of response. Your message got over 50 million views on the Galactic Network, Emma said. You have become something of a celebrity. They are calling you the Deathworlder who cares. Jake grimaced. Terrible name. Could be worse. They could have gone with reckless human who attacked 4 raiders alone. Fair point. Jake drank his coffee. Have you seen the deployment orders? Just came through. The Nightfall is being assigned to the HSS Thunderstrike's task force. We will be running patrols with 3 other ships. Emma paused. Jake, do you think we did? Besides, humans are stubborn. Once we commit to something, we do not back down easily. Emma smiled. That is what worries the Council, I think. They are used to species that calculate cost versus benefit and make rational decisions. We make moral decisions and ignore the costs. Exactly. Jake's communicator made a sound. Morrison here. Commander, this is Admiral Hayes. Report to the Thunderstrike immediately. We are having a command briefing for all patrol leaders. On my way, ma'am. An hour later, Jake sat in the Thunderstrike's briefing room with 20 other ship commanders. Admiral Hayes stood at the front, a star map displayed behind her. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for assembling quickly. As you know, recent events have prompted a significant shift in our operational posture. The Fifth Fleet is being deployed to establish a permanent peacekeeping presence across these sectors. She highlighted several regions on the map. Intelligence indicates that raider activity has been concentrated in these areas. Trade routes that pass through regions with minimal Galactic Council patrol coverage. Our mission is to change that situation. A hand went up. Commander Kate Sullivan of the HSS Relentless spoke. Admiral, what are our rules of engagement? The Council's official position is that we overreacted to the Valaxi situation. Our rules of engagement are simple, Hayes replied. Any vessel that attacks civilian traffic, ignores surrender orders, or engages our ships will be met with overwhelming force. We are not here to arrest pirates and hand them over to a justice system that does not work. We are here to make piracy unprofitable and dangerous. She let that sink in. I know some of you are concerned about the political implications. Let me be clear. Earth Command and the civilian government fully support this deployment. We are not seeking conflict with the Galactic Council, but we will not compromise our principles to please them. Another officer spoke. What if Council forces tried to interfere with our operations? Then we will politely explain our position and continue our mission. I do not expect it will come to that. Most Council members are quietly relieved someone is finally addressing this problem. They just cannot say so publicly. Hayes changed the display to show fleet assignments. Each task force will patrol an assigned sector. You will respond to all distress calls, escort vulnerable ships on request, and make your presence known. Coordinate with local stations and authorities, but remember that human ships answer to human command. How long will this deployment last? Someone asked. Until it is no longer necessary, Hayes said. Or until humanity decides to leave the galactic community, which I do not see happening. We are committed to this, people. Make sure your crews understand that. The briefing continued for another hour, covering logistics, communication protocols, and coordination procedures. When it finally ended, Jake found himself walking back to the Nightfall with a sense of purpose. This was bigger than one rescue mission. Humanity was establishing its identity among the stars, declaring what it stood for and what it would not tolerate. The galaxy would adapt to human presence, or there would be conflict. Jake hoped it would be the former, but he was prepared for the latter. On the Nightfall's bridge, his crew waited. Emma, Ryan, Kate, Ben, and dozens of others who had signed up to explore the stars and found themselves on the front lines of a cultural revolution. Crew, this is the commander, Jake announced over the ship-wide intercom. We have received our new orders. The Nightfall will be part of a larger peacekeeping operation across multiple sectors. Our mission is to protect civilian traffic and respond to distress calls. This is what we trained for. This is why we are out here. He paused. The galaxy is watching us. Some species admire what we are doing. Others fear us. Many do not understand us. That is okay. We do not need their understanding. We need their pirates and slavers to know that humanity will not look away when innocent beings call for help. We are not conquerors. We are not bullies. We are simply beings who refuse to let evil flourish because it is convenient or profitable to ignore it. Stay sharp. Stay ready, and remember what we are fighting for. The crew responded with determination. They were human, after all, and humans had a long history of fighting for what they believed in, regardless of the odds. The Fifth Fleet departed Station Kepler in formation, spreading out across assigned sectors. The galaxy's trade lanes, long troubled by piracy and fear, were about to get much safer, whether the galaxy wanted it or not. 6 weeks after the Fifth Fleet's deployment, the galactic underworld was in chaos. Pirate bases that had operated openly for decades suddenly found themselves under attack. Raider groups that had grown comfortable discovered that human patrol ships were faster, better armed, and completely relentless. The HSS Nightfall moved through the Kestros Nebula. Its sensors cut through the gas clouds that had long provided cover for criminal operations. Commander Jake Morrison studied the tactical display with satisfaction. Contact, Lieutenant Ryan Cooper reported. 3 ships, Corvette class. Signatures match the Bloody Claw Gang. They are moving to intercept a Hylarian colony ship. Distance? 12 minutes at current speed. The colony ship is unarmed, carrying about 3,000 civilians. Jake's expression hardened. Battle stations, maximum acceleration. Emma, warn the colony ship we are coming. Tell them to maintain course and do not panic. The Nightfall surged forward. Its enhanced engines pushed well beyond standard galactic specifications. Human engineering had taken alien technology and improved it through innovation and what other species considered reckless disregard for safety margins. "We will reach weapons range in 6 minutes," Ryan said. "The raiders are calling the colony ship now, demanding they surrender cargo and passengers." "Let me hear it." A harsh voice filled the bridge. "Hylarian vessel, this is the Bloody Claw. Surrender your ship and prepare to be boarded. Comply or be destroyed." Jake gestured to Emma. "Open a channel to those raiders." "Channel open, sir." "Bloody Claw, this is the Human Confederacy ship Nightfall. Break off your attack immediately and prepare to be destroyed." There was a moment of silence. Then laughter came through the speakers. "Humans, you are far from your patrol routes, Deathworlder. This is our territory. Leave now or join the wreckage we will make of that colony ship." "Your territory?" Jake's voice dropped to a deadly calm. "You are claiming sovereignty over open space? Interesting. I will make sure to note that in my report when I scatter your molecules across this nebula." Big words from one small ship. "Ryan, target locks?" "Acquired on all 3 vessels, sir. Main guns and missiles ready." Jake leaned back in his chair. "Bloody Claw, I am going to explain something to you. Over the past 6 weeks, human ships have destroyed 47 pirate vessels. We have freed 6 slave markets. We have shut down 12 illegal operations. Your gang has been on our target list since week 2. He paused. "You can surrender now, or you can find out why Earth is considered one of the deadliest worlds in the galaxy." One of the raider ships broke formation, beginning to run. The other 2 hesitated, clearly uncertain. "They are powering weapons," Ryan said. "Looks like they are choosing violence." "Then let us educate them. Fire." The Nightfall's railguns spoke first, sending tungsten penetrators screaming across space. The lead raider tried to dodge, but Ryan had learned to predict alien tactics. The slugs punched through shields and hull. The raider vessel broke apart. The second raider managed to fire plasma torpedoes at the Nightfall. Human point defense systems, faster and more accurate than standard galactic models, stopped every single one. Return fire from the Nightfall's missile batteries caught the raider as it tried to turn away. The warheads exploded with precision. The second raider disappeared in a flash of light. The third raider, the one that had tried to run, was now going very fast. Jake checked the range. "Can we catch it?" "Not before it reaches the nebula's edge," Ryan said. "But, sir, I am tracking another contact beyond the nebula boundary. Signature matches the HSS Valiant." "That is the last of the Bloody Claw gang," his executive officer reported. "Intelligence indicates they were one of the major players in this region." "We're being the key word," Ben said. "What is next on our target list?" "There is a slave market operating on an asteroid in the Terminus Belt. It is supposed to be hidden, but we received coordinates from a Valaxi informant." Ben's jaw tightened. Of all the criminal enterprises humanity had encountered in space, slavery made them most angry. "Plot a course, and send a message to the Nightfall and the HSS Relentless. Tell them we are going to need backup." Across the sector, human ships were doing similar operations. The HSS Thunderstrike had stopped a convoy of ships carrying kidnapped civilians. The HSS Relentless had destroyed a pirate base built into an abandoned station. Each success was documented and sent across the galactic network. The response from other species was mixed, but increasingly positive. Civilian populations celebrated their new protectors. Merchants and traders began specifically asking for human escorts. Even some Galactic Council members privately admitted that human methods were working, but in the shadows, those who made profit from chaos began to plot. On a hidden station deep in unclaimed space, representatives of a dozen major criminal syndicates gathered. The chamber was dimly lit, filled with beings from across the galaxy. At the head of the table sat a Krenthian warlord named Vax. His scaled face was marked with scars from countless battles. The humans are destroying our operations, one syndicate leader said with a hiss. They ignore our warnings. They show no mercy. We are losing ships, bases, and profit. They are animals, another added, violent Deathworlders who think their primitive morality applies to the entire galaxy. Vax raised a clawed hand for silence. The humans are dangerous, yes, but they are also predictable. They respond to distress calls. They protect the weak. We can use this against them. How? Someone asked. We set a trap, Vax explained. A distress call the humans cannot ignore. We lure multiple human ships to a single location and destroy them all at once. When the galaxy sees human wreckage, when they see that these Deathworlders can be killed, their image will shatter. What kind of trap? Vax's expression turned cruel. A Galaxy colony. We attack it, send out distress calls, and wait for the humans to rush to the rescue. Then we spring our ambush with overwhelming force. 10 ships, 20, however many it takes. We will teach humanity that this galaxy has predators far deadlier than anything on their precious Earth. The syndicate leaders agreed. Plans were made, resources gathered, and messages sent to mercenary fleets across the region. They were about to learn a critical lesson about humans. When you threaten what they protect, when you deliberately target the innocent to hurt them, you do not see their restraint. You see their wrath. The distress call came through on all human frequencies at the same time. A Galaxy colony on the planet Theta Verdant was under attack by a massive raider force. The message was desperate, terrified, and precisely calculated to trigger an immediate human response. It worked. Admiral Lisa Hayes received the alert within seconds on the flagship HSS Thunderstrike. She studied the tactical display with cold calculation. Theta Verdant was 3 hours from the nearest human patrol ship, the Nightfall. The next closest ship was 6 hours away. It is a trap, her tactical officer said bluntly. They are using the Galaxy as bait. Of course it is a trap, Hayes agreed. Which means we are walking into it with our eyes open. Send orders to all ships within 12 hours of Theta Verdant. Full fleet convergence, and get me Commander Morrison on the Nightfall. Jake's face appeared on the screen moments later. Admiral, we are already on our way at maximum speed. ETA is 2 hours 40 minutes. I know you are, Commander. I also know this is an ambush. Intelligence estimates at least 15 hostile ships waiting for you. Then they will be surprised when the entire Fifth Fleet shows up behind me, Jake replied calmly. Ma'am, those are real Galaxy down there. Real civilians being terrorized specifically to draw us out. If we do not respond, we prove that our principles can be negotiated. Hayes studied him for a moment. You understand you might not survive the initial contact? You will be alone against overwhelming odds for at least 40 minutes before reinforcements arrive. The Nightfall is fast and tough. We will manage. Jake's expression hardened. Besides, we have got an advantage they do not know about. Which is? They think we are prey walking into a trap. They do not realize that humans are persistence hunters. We do not give up. We do not run. And when you threaten what we protect, we do not just fight back. He smiled without humor. We hunt. Hayes nodded slowly. Very well, Commander. You have tactical autonomy for the initial engagement. But Jake, if it looks like you cannot hold, you withdraw. That is an order. Understood, Admiral. We will see you at Theta Verdant. On the Nightfall's bridge, the crew prepared for battle with grim efficiency. This was not going to be like their previous fights with random raiders. This was a planned military operation by organized criminals who wanted to make an example of humanity. All hands, this is Commander Morrison, Jake announced over the ship-wide intercom. We are heading into an ambush. The enemy thinks they are going to destroy us and prove that humans can be intimidated. They are wrong. He paused, letting his words sink in. Earth is a Class 12 death world. Most of you have heard that classification but do not know what it really means. It means our planet tried to kill our ancestors every single day. Predators, diseases, weather, disasters, and 1,000 other things that made survival a constant battle. And yet, here we are. We did not just survive Earth. We conquered it. The raiders waiting at Theta Verdant do not understand what that means. They think because they have more ships, they have won. But we are not just fighting for ourselves, we are fighting for civilians who called for help. We are fighting for every peaceful being who just wants to live without fear. And we are fighting to show this galaxy that humanity stands for something. His voice dropped to steel. We are going to hold that planet until the fleet arrives. We are going to make those raiders regret using innocent beings as bait. And we are going to teach the galaxy an important lesson. You do not trap a Deathworlder. You just make them angry. The crew responded with fierce determination. They knew the risks, they knew the odds, and they did not care. The nightfall came out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Theta Verdant's system. Sensors immediately painted a nightmare scenario. 16 raider vessels surrounded the planet. Their weapons were hitting the colony's shields. On the surface, thousands of Valaxi hid in shelters, terrified and helpless. "Contact," Ryan reported. "We are being hailed by the raider fleet. Multiple signatures, but they are all coordinating. This is definitely organized." "Put them through." A Krenthian face appeared on screen, scarred and savage. "So, the human dogs arrive right on schedule. I am Vax, and I am going to enjoy tearing your ship apart." Jake studied the tactical display calmly. 16 ships against 1. That seems like a lot of effort just to deal with us. "Emma, send our tactical data to the incoming fleet. Make sure they know exactly where every enemy ship is. Ryan, evasive pattern Delta. Keep us mobile and make them chase us." The Nightfall dove toward the planet, using its gravity to slingshot into a high-speed orbit. Raider ships followed, firing wildly. The human ships' shields flared as hits registered. But the Nightfall's defensive systems, built to withstand the rigors of Earth's hostile environment, held strong. "Return fire, all weapons," Jake ordered. "Do not try to destroy them, just hurt them. Make them angry. Make them focus on us." Railgun slugs and missiles came from the Nightfall, hitting raider vessels with precision. Shields collapsed, armor cracked, ships took damage but remained functional. The raiders pressed their attack, convinced that weight of numbers would win. They did not realize they were being herded. 45 minutes until the fleet arrives," Emma reported. "Shields at 70%. Hull integrity good." "Keep them dancing," Jake said calmly. "Ryan, how many are still bombarding the colony?" 5 ships are staying in position over the planet. The rest are chasing us." "Perfect. Target those 5. Full salvo, maximum yield." The Nightfall broke from its evasive pattern and dove straight toward the planet. The raider ships in orbit barely had time to react before human weapons tore into them. 3 were destroyed immediately. The other 2 broke off, abandoning their positions. On the surface, the Valaxi colonists watched in awe as a single human ship fought an entire fleet to protect them. "Shields at 40%, Emma warned. "We are taking heavy fire." Jake checked the time. 30 minutes. We can hold. All power to rear shields. Keep us between them and the planet." The Nightfall took up position above the colony, using the planet's magnetic field to help its shield regeneration. It was a tactic no other species had developed because no other species had experience with Earth's brutal electromagnetic storms. Raider ships swarmed around the human vessel, pouring fire into it from every angle. Shields flickered and wavered, but held. And all the while, the Nightfall's weapons never stopped firing, claiming another raider ship every few minutes. 10 minutes, Emma said. "Shields at 20%. "Hold position," Jake ordered. "They are committed now. They cannot retreat without losing face." Vax watched from his command ship as another of his vessels exploded. The human ship was battered, clearly damaged, but it refused to die. And now his sensors were picking up new contacts at the edge of the system. Human contacts. Many of them. "All ships withdraw," Vax ordered frantically. "It is a trap." But it was too late. The Fifth Fleet came out of faster-than-light travel in perfect battle formation. 15 warships, including 3 heavy cruisers, appeared around the raider fleet like wolves surrounding prey. Admiral Hayes's voice cut across all frequencies. "Raider vessels, this is Admiral Lisa Hayes of the Human Confederacy. You used innocent civilians as bait. You attacked them to draw us into an ambush. That was a mistake." Her tone turned to ice. "This is your only chance to surrender. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Refuse and we will demonstrate exactly what a human fleet can do when you threaten what we protect." 2 raider ships immediately surrendered. The rest, including Vax's flagship, tried to fight. It was a massacre. Human heavy cruisers unleashed broadsides that shattered raider vessels like glass. Destroyers hunted fleeing ships with relentless precision. Frigates coordinated point defense to ensure no raider weapon reached its target. In 15 minutes, it was over. 9 raider ships were destroyed. 4 had surrendered. Only 3 managed to escape, and even those were heavily damaged. On the surface of Theta Verdant, the Valaxi colonists came out of their shelters to find human ships in orbit and human marines landing to give aid. The trap had failed completely. Back on the Thunderstrike, Admiral Hayes reviewed the battle reports with satisfaction. "Total enemy casualties? 73% of their fleet destroyed," her tactical officer reported. "Prisoner interrogations indicate this was a coordinated effort by multiple criminal syndicates. They wanted to prove humans could be beaten. Instead, they proved the opposite," Hayes said. "Send a message to all human ships and broadcast it on all galactic frequencies. I want everyone to hear this." She activated the recording system. "This is Admiral Lisa Hayes of the Human Confederacy Fifth Fleet. Today, criminal elements attempted to use innocent civilians as bait to lure human forces into an ambush. They believed they could demonstrate that humanity's commitment to protecting the vulnerable was a weakness they could exploit." Hayes paused, letting her words carry weight. "They learned differently. When you threaten innocent beings to hurt us, when you use terror and violence to challenge our principles, you do not reveal our weakness. You reveal our strength. Because humanity does not just defend what we believe in. We hunt those who prey on the helpless. We pursue them. We find them. And we remove them. Let this be the final lesson to those who profit from suffering. Earth is a death world. Humans are apex predators. We evolved fighting every day just to survive, and we brought that same relentless determination to the stars. If you choose violence against the innocent, if you trade in slavery or terror, we will find you, and you will discover exactly why our planet tried so hard to kill us and failed." The message spread across the galaxy within hours. The Battle of Theta Verdant, as it came to be known, became the defining moment of human presence in space. Criminal syndicates that had operated for centuries suddenly found themselves hunted by an enemy that refused to compromise or retreat. Piracy rates dropped by 70% in sectors with human patrols. Slavery markets shut down. Raiders fled to the farthest reaches of space, terrified of meeting human ships. And across the galaxy, peaceful species began to look at humanity differently. Not as warmongers or violent primitives, but as protectors. As beings who would risk everything to answer a call for help. On the Nightfall, now repaired and back on patrol, Commander Jake Morrison sat in his ready room reading reports. The Galactic Council had officially recognized human peacekeeping efforts, admitting that piracy had decreased significantly. Several species had requested permanent human presence in their territories. Emma entered with a datapad. "Sir, you need to see this. It is a message from the Valaxi homeworld." Jake read it and smiled. The Valaxi government was proposing a formal alliance with humanity. They wanted to learn human military tactics. adopt human principles of protecting civilian populations, and work alongside human forces across the galaxy. They are calling it the Valaxi-Terran Compact, Emma said. Other species are already expressing interest in joining. Jake leaned back in his chair, thinking about how much had changed in just a few months. Humanity had come to space uncertain of their place among the stars. Now they were shaping the very nature of galactic civilization. "You know what the best part is?" Jake said. "We did not do this through conquest or intimidation. We did it by simply refusing to look away when people needed help." "That is very human of us," Emma replied with a smile. "Yes," Jake agreed. "Yes, it is." Outside the window, the stars called. There were more trade routes to protect, more distress calls to answer, more innocents who needed defending. And humanity, these strange Deathworlders who had turned a hostile planet into a cradle of civilization, were ready. The galaxy had learned an important truth. When humans say they will protect you, they mean it. And when they commit to something, they do not give up. Ever. 3 months after the Battle of Theta Verdant, the galaxy looked very different. Human patrol ships were now a common sight on major trade routes. The Fifth Fleet had expanded to include alien volunteers who wanted to serve alongside humanity. Piracy had become rare in human-controlled sectors. But more than that, the culture was changing. Other species began to adopt human practices. The Valaxi trained their own defense forces. The Hylarians established rapid response teams. Even some Galactic Council members quietly reformed their patrol policies. On Earth, people watched the news from space with pride. Their species had gone to the stars not as conquerors, but as defenders. They had shown the galaxy what it meant to have principles worth fighting for. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Nightfall, watching a convoy of merchant ships pass safely through what had once been dangerous space. Each ship sent messages of thanks as they passed. "Another quiet day," Ryan said from his station. "Quiet is good," Jake replied. "It means we are doing our job." Emma looked up from her console. "Sir, we are receiving a new assignment. Fleet Command wants us to escort a diplomatic mission to the Outer Rim. Several species want to establish formal agreements with humanity." Jake nodded. "Set course. Let them know we are on our way." As the Nightfall turned toward its new heading, Jake thought about what humanity had accomplished. They had not changed the galaxy through force. They had changed it through example. By showing that protecting the innocent was not weakness, but strength. By proving that principles were worth defending, no matter the cost. Earth was a death world. It had forged humanity in fire and struggle. But that same crucible had given humans something precious, the ability to endure, the refusal to abandon those in need, the determination to make things better, even when it was hard. The galaxy was learning what that meant, and for the first time in galactic history, the weak and vulnerable had protectors who would not fail them. The stars stretched endlessly before the nightfall. Somewhere out there, someone would need help. A distress call would sound, and humanity would answer, always. "We are sending a message," Vax growled. "The galaxy needs to see that humans bleed and die like anyone else. Your arrogance ends here." "Interesting theory," Jake said. "Here is mine. You have made a critical miscalculation. You see one human ship and think you have an advantage, but we are not your real problem." "No. Then what is?" "The fact that 15 more human warships are going to arrive here in less than an hour, and every second you waste talking to me is a second you could be running." Jake leaned forward. "But please do not run. Stay and fight. I want you to understand exactly why Earth is considered a death world." Vax's expression twisted with rage. "All ships! Destroy that human vessel!" The Raider fleet broke into attack formations, coming at the nightfall from multiple angles. It was a professional assault, coordinated and overwhelming, and it played perfectly into Jake's hands. Jake smiled. Perfect timing. Emma, coordinate with the Valiant. Make sure that raider has nowhere to run. 10 minutes later, the running raider found itself facing a human heavy cruiser. It surrendered immediately. On the bridge of the HSS Valiant, Captain Ben Hayes watched as the raider crew was moved to the brig. His ship had been patrolling this sector for 3 weeks, breaking down the infrastructure that supported piracy. The right thing. You mean fighting the raiders? I mean all of it. We have basically challenged the entire galactic status quo. The Council is angry. Half the major powers think we are warmongers. We have made enemies. Jake watched as the HSS Thunderstrike aligned with the station for docking. The heavy cruiser was bigger than everything around it, a statement of human engineering and determination. Emma. Before humanity went to space, I studied history. Old Earth history. You know what I learned? Every time civilization took a step forward, someone had to challenge the status quo. Someone had to say, this is wrong and do something about it, even when it was uncomfortable or dangerous. He turned to face her. The galaxy has accepted piracy and slavery as inevitable. They have decided some beings are not worth protecting. I refuse to accept that. Even if it means war? I do not think it will come to that. Most species are not evil, they are just comfortable with how things are. They need someone to remind them that their ideals mean something. Jake finished his coffee. Lieutenant Kate Phillips, Jake called to his chief medical officer. Get medical teams ready. We have Valaxi casualties coming. Already ready, sir, Kate answered quickly. I've been studying Valaxi biology. We can treat them. That was something about humans that confused many aliens. Humans trained for both extreme violence and immediate care. The same hands that fired deadly weapons could give medical help moments later. Over the next 4 hours, the Nightfall's crew worked with the Valaxi to fix the transport. Human engineers led by Chief Ben Carter patched the hull holes with foam and temporary plates. Human medics treated wounded Valaxi carefully, adapting their techniques to alien bodies. Captain Venn watched in surprise as humans rushed through his ship, working with efficient intensity.